Future Joe here.
No way!
Just wanted to say thank you for the quadrupling, I guess, my subscriber count, such that it is.
I'm kind of a big deal.
And some of the views that I've been getting. But, you know, what I did do is I looked into some of the analytics, and 85% of the folks watching these videos are not subscribed. It would really help me as a little YouTube peon, really get some traction, as well as allow me to do more of these videos and more of this work in the Mustang. So if you could, like, comment, subscribe, and, you know, I appreciate any and all feedback. And on that note, on to the video. Welcome back to the garage. Today, I'll be up underneath the vehicle. That one right there. Gonna be doing some seam sealing up underneath. There was the previous owner installed new floor pans and some other stuff. So I just want to make sure that it is sealed well. And then additionally, I got a rubberized rust encapsulating undercoat as well as a spray gun. Specifically for it. I've never sprayed anything in my life before, so I figure underneath the car is probably a good place to get some practice in. So depending on how far along we get with the seam sealing, I'll be messing around with getting the underbody sprayed and rubberized and encapsulated and all of that. I know the jury is out on, or people have varying opinions, I should say, on rubberized stuff, rust encapsulator, but I got the Eastwood stuff, and it seems to have gotten really good reviews, and I plan on actually driving the heck out of this car, and it seems like a good little bit of insurance policy there. So we'll see how it goes, and wish me luck. You can see up underneath here, this is the back of the floor pan, right under the back seat. You see this gray right here. I've already done some seam sealing in here. There's a little bit of patchwork right here that the previous owner welded up and ground back, so I just need to seam seal that. All up in here. So I want to do all along that line there. You can see where the previous owner put that one in. What we got? A little bit over there. What we got here? Let's get the camera decent looking. And I mean, really, that's I think about it. You know, because if you look underneath here, underneath the rockers, he's already seam sealed that. I did on the front side here a little bit where the two panels meet. So just a little bit there, and then when I was talking to Eastwood about what product I should be using, they recommended the rubberized undercoating. Obviously, it's their own product. But I was talking about some of the, some of the bits underneath here. So this is some OEM undercoating, and this is ground back a little bit to mostly bare metal. And they recommended, as long as it's not flaking up, you can paint over it. So what I'll do is I'm going to come in here with the putty knife, and just make sure everything is clean, not flaking, I should say, not clean, but not flaking, and rub it down with some acetone and get to spraying. All right, here are all the gadgets and gizmos I'm gonna need to get some prep done. So, got a Tyvek suit with booties and a hood. Got some paper for masking stuff off, and of course some masking tape. This is painter's tape, but should be all right. and then a plastic drop cloth to put right down yonder and up and over the stuff that I don't want to get dirty. So without further ado, let's get to taping and masking. Got it all taped up. I ran some tape up along the inside of the wheel wells here and got that papered up and, up on the side here and whatnot. But, because I don't want the stuff going everywhere. And obviously I'll be pulling the car out and pulling the door out, but here goes nothing. So I have my gun. I have my rubberized rust encapsulator, got some gloves, iPro, muy importante, and my respirator as well. And I don't know if you can see here, but I look like Goofy Michelin Man. So I think what I'm gonna do is, if you take a look-see down here, just got a little drop cloth down there. What I'm going to do is I'm just gonna do the back portion of the car up to where the body dolly is, just as a test, see how she goes, and hopefully it goes well. And if that's the case, I'll do everything back here, and I'll just do it in sections. So think of it in thirds. So back, middle, front. Wish me luck. So I used just under a quart to do the back, effectively third of the car, and the rear wheel wells, up in the arches. So I'm hoping that it's indicative of how much I'll use for the rest of the car. I was honestly kind of taking a bit of a wag. For those of you who don't know what a wag is, it is exactly a wild ass guess. But seemed to go on well. It took a little bit of messing around for me to kind of figure out what the tip should be set at and pressure on the compressor. I don't know, I think it did all right. Seemed to spray pretty well, pretty consistently. Coverage was pretty good. There were a couple light spots that I had to go back to, but I think that was just me rushing it as opposed to not necessarily having the settings correct. So right now I'm just using rags to clean up paint stuff because I don't want this drying in here. I'm using rags just to get the majority of it, and then I'm gonna use some acetone to clean it out, and I'll spray it down, or spray acetone through the gun to get the tip all clean and all that. And while I'm doing this, that should be drying, and then I'll show you what it looks like. All right, folks, here's the Eastwood Rubberized Rust Encapsulator. Like I said, sprayed on well, I think. I'm not a painter or a sprayer by trade, so take that for what it is. Trying to get the lighting right here for you. It looks pretty good. So it's still a little bit wet, but it went on nice, coated nice and evenly. It's not a really rubberized finish, where you have a lot of texture to it necessarily. There's a little bit of texture, but what it seems like are rubber particles in it. So the actual finish itself is kind of like a sheet of rubber. If that makes sense. But like I said, sprayed on pretty well. I went through a quart for basically up to the e-brake brackets and all the way to the back of the car, to include up in the wheel well right there, which I think that came out really well. It's all brand new sheet metal, so I would kind of expect it to. Richard, what's happening? But most importantly, look at my pants. Apparently I need to get a bigger size or stop eating chocolate chip cookies. either way, I think it worked really, really well. I need to order a couple more quarts. I just wanted to get one to see how it worked. And I'll get up underneath the middle of the car, underneath all the floor pans, inside, you know, the rockers and underneath all the way up there. And honestly, I might do the engine bay in it because it does finish pretty well. And it's pretty understated. And if I'm spraying it, I may as well spray it, I guess. So anyway, thanks for coming along, and we'll wrap it up in a second here. All right, that's another episode of Joe should buy a bigger pair of Tyvek coveralls next time, because
that guy in a little coat.
I may or may not have a giant hole in my crotch. So using the Eastwood Rust Encapsulator, the rubberized underneath, worked really, really well, I think. I bought the spray gun off of Amazon. I think it's actually the same one that you can get as the entry-level gun from Eastwood, but it was almost $20 less expensive. But it seemed to work well, and my little 8-gallon, 4 horsepower, whatever the heck it is, compressor seemed to do okay. I mean, I'm not going to use it to spray the whole car. I need to get a bigger one for that. But yeah, worked really well, and I'm going to buy a couple more quarts and do the last 2/3 of the car, and then save my pennies for suspension and steering and wheels and tires, and then I can get it off the body dolly, which I'm really excited about. But on another note, the paint work. So I was initially thinking about stripping all of the red paint back down to bare metal and doing a bunch of body work as necessary. I say bunch, I don't know how much I would need to do. But on the recommendation of some body gurus on the Vintage Mustang forum, they're looking at the pictures as well as some of the areas that I scuffed up. And it seems that there's been a professional level of body work done prior down to the bare metal. So I think what I'm gonna do is take the recommendation, scuff the whole car with 180 and spray it with epoxy. I think SPI, Southern Products, I think, is what was recommended. So if anybody has another recommendation, I'm all ears, but the SPI came very, very highly regarded. So I think that's what I'm gonna go with. So anyway, thanks for coming along, and I'll see you around.